practice that 9-breath prayer. Learned that we don't need to seek the quiet from the storm, but the quiet in the storm, the stillness in the middle of the storm. Okay, and that's where. So that brings us to tonight's the idea of joy as waiting. Before this opening prayer, I just do want to acknowledge a certain irony or paradox of Advent. You know, it's a season of waiting by definition, right, for the incarnation. Waiting for Christ's coming at Christmas, waiting for His second coming in glory, waiting for the darkness of the dawn. But our culture largely has forgotten to wait. It doesn't do well with waiting. It's instant everything, right? Instant food, instant communication, instant entertainment. You know, everything is on demand. Answers now. And it's now gone faster than ever. In a sense, we've lost the capacity to just sit with unknowing. We've lost the capacity to sit with longing, to sit with the tension. And we kind of got used to this idea of want it now. And I need it now. I'll give you lots of examples of that tonight. So what I'm going to draw on tonight is the Celtic spirituality. It's dear to my heart. In particular, John O'Donoghue is one of my favorite heroes in the Celtic spirituality and mystic. I think he'll go down as one of the greatest writers of Irish mysticism. So in Celtic spirituality and mysticism, waiting is not passive. Waiting is not emptiness. Waiting is pregnant with possibility. It's alive with wonder. And so it's balance between hope and reality. In a sense, we call it in Ireland, and I'm going to do it with the Irish accent and I'll explain it. It's thick with mystery, which means it's thick with mystery, okay? That's what that means, okay? But we never use the H. So it's thick with mystery, and that's what it is. So, all right, what we're going to do is start out like we did last week. Let's do the 9-breath prayer, okay? Close your eyes if you're willing to. Breathe in deeply through your nose, filling your lungs completely. Hold it for a moment and let it out slowly through your mouth. And then as you say that second two, say, God is with me. Okay, so let's just do these 9 breaths now. Gently open your eyes now when you're ready. And breathe in, breathe out the peace to all who wait. People who wait in grief, people who wait in certainty, especially those who wait in hospital rooms or wait in courtrooms. Just let it all rise. And so we pray. God of all Advent darkness, God of the womb and of the tomb, God of all sacred waiting, you dwell in the space between longing and belonging, between promise and fulfillment, between now and not yet. Teach us then to wait with wonder, to balance on the edge of mystery, to rest in the unknowing, where joy gestates into silence. As Mary waited, carrying you within her, teach us then to carry our longings as holy things, not as problems to be solved, but mysteries to be pondered. We ask this through Christ, who is our Lord, who comes, who is coming, and who will come again. Amen. All right. So what I want to talk about, this active hope. I'm going to pause every now and then too. It's a little hot tea for my throat, sorry. So last week we talked about how we deepen it by being fully present. Tonight we're going to discover, I'm hoping to help you enlighten, is waiting is not the opposite of presence, but it is presence extended over time. Presence extended over time. So I want to carry last week's and continue that presence. We be present over a period of time. Henry Nouwen says that waiting is not desperate, anxious gnawing of our teeth, but trusting the stillness that honors the rhythm of life. Beautiful way of putting it. Or as John the Cross puts it, the soul doesn't know the way, but yet it trusts that love knows the way. And love is the guide to bring me home. Beautiful way of putting it. St. Teresa is one of my favorite. St. Teresa of Avila, in her interior castle, she maintains that the soul's journey is all about patient waiting. Waiting for God to open the door. Waiting in prayer when prayer feels dry. Waiting in trust when nothing seems to be happening. So tonight, the structure I want to give you tonight, I'm going to be talking about it in 3 different ways. And so to make it easier, wonder, balance, and mystery. Now let's just start out this just briefly. Wonder is about making bearable even the joyful, making waiting bearable, maybe even joyful. So I'm going to see how that happens. That we changes how we see things while we wait. That's what wonder will do. And so I'm going to open that up a little bit. Then balance is the strength in flexibility. It's not rigidity, but it's responsiveness. It's holding the both and intention while we're waiting. It's not an either or, it's a both and. And then the last one is mystery, which is recognition beyond comprehension. So this is where what we wait for is always going to be beyond our understanding, our total comprehensibility. But what we wait for, it brings about inside of us a certain amount of beauty because we're present, waiting, and we wonder, and the mystery of all that comes together. So all right, so and that for me, that brings about endurance, spiritual practice, and ultimately brings us to joy, and that's where we want to sort of embrace. All right, so let's dive into this first one, wonder. This is what enlarges the heart while we wait, wonder, right? Jonathan Donahue says, when we wonder, we are no longer the center of the universe. When we wonder, we are no longer the center of the universe, because it's immediately outward focusing, right? We find ourselves in the vast cosmos of tiny and intimate ways, and that's what we're looking for. Now, I want to distinguish between, because I think there's a great misunderstanding about curiosity and wonder, right? And I think we often put those together, but they're not the same, right? Curiosity says, how does this work? And like, these are both good things. I'm not, like, curiosity is a great thing. It's a great place to start. But if we start and we stop at curiosity, then we will not find joy. We'll not find joy. Because curiosity is a demand for control. Curiosity says, how does this work? I want to know. Curiosity says, what can I do with this? Whatever this is. Curiosity says, how can I benefit from this? What can I get? It's a very controlling way to it. Now, it's not It's better than not having curiosity, right? Curiosity is about wanting. Wonder is this. What does wonder ask? Nothing. Wonder asks for nothing. It simply receives. It stands in awe with hands out. We're in wonder. John O'Donohue says, wonder never rests on the surface of fact or situation. It is beautiful form of presence. We stand in wonder. See, you can feel like when you're sitting with a child, for example, who is a newborn child, it's very easy to sit and wonder. Why? Because you're holding this baby and you're aghast. You can't understand how it all happened. Yes, you know the child just came out. Yes, you know that. But you stand and you hold this baby and you're in awe and wonder. If you get locked in curiosity, you want to know how it all happened. How did it come out? How did it happen? How did it happen? You can see the control. Whereas wonder just sits there in awe and receives this gift that is before us. Now look, it's crucial for Advent to embrace this sense of wonder. Because we wait not with impatient anxiety, but with wonder. That's what Advent is about. Like Christ on Christmas Eve, like a child, on Christmas Eve. Not demanding Christmas to come. Not scheming that Christmas would come earlier. But instead wide-eyed in anticipation of what's going to happen tomorrow. What's going to come. Trusting that something beautiful is going to happen tomorrow. You see the childlike wonder. It's important. So here's the thing that why wonder enlarges the heart is this. Is that when we approach life with wonder, it immediately focuses outside of ourselves. We don't become small, we become big. Because our heart, we stop trying to grasp and we start trying to receive. We stop trying to control and we start trying to witness what happens. See? It's not about control, it's about witness. Not about grasping, it's about receiving with open hands. Now, John the Cross is a great example. John the Cross, let me just tell you, I know I talk too much about him, but he's one of my heroes. He was imprisoned by his fellow brother priests, beaten, starved, tortured. And in that prison cell, in the darkness, he wrote some of the most mystical, beautiful poetry that Christian history has ever seen. And I'm going to quote some of it tonight because it's so beautiful. You say, how could somebody in that amount of torturous condition be able to write that? Because he had wonder. He was full of wonder of God's love for him at creation, of the soul's union with God. So here's one of the things he said. Now, he's speaking of the dark night. O night that guided me, O night more lovely than dawn. O night joined beloved with lover, lover transformed into the beloved. Oh, how I love you, Lord, because you loved me. Wow, in the darkness that came, not in the light, because he was in wonder in the darkness. Now the point here is that he doesn't endure his waiting. He's wondering at it. He's found God in the midst of the waiting. So you see where I'm talking about this active presence, how you extend this active presence, it becomes part, wonder extends it out, right? So here, this is how we wait in Advent. We're amazed, in awe, in wonder, and our heart grows. So I want to give you a practical example of this so to work with. I mean, I think you all know I have a dog. I love my dog, Bella. I think they have a sense of wonder that we could, if we could only imitate dogs in their wonder. And I'm sure other animals, I'm sure cats have it. I've never been a cat person, but like I'll give you, and I've shared this example before, but it's perfect for this particular situation. But dogs pause mid-walk to investigate something. They don't wait till, I'll get to that when I'm done with my walk. Right? Boop, there it is. And they look, and they stare at it, and it's all in. They're all in. A cat sits perfectly sitting watching a bird, right? A deer freezes in perfect attention, right? Animals don't rush. You never notice that? Animals aren't in a rush somewhere. They're not trying to get back for the evening news. They're not trying to get to the. I mean, they're not in a rush. They attend to the moment, and they wonder. So let me give you this example of Bella. So I walk down here Morton most days, Morton Avenue, either at night or in the morning. But in the early morning, the squirrels are out like crazy. This one particular morning, like she was sniffing and pulling, like normally she's always just a little bit, but she tends not to pull, but tends to look in her nose like this. Well, this morning she's pulling like crazy. I'm thinking, okay. So I stopped and I said, okay, I wonder. She was fixated on this oak tree. And she was proud, like she was going to pounce, ready for it. I'm going, I could not for the life of see anything on this oak tree. Nothing. So I decided that I would get down on my knees and lower myself to what she's seen, to why her eyes. And so, now bear in mind, I'm like this. I'm like the dog. I'm looking down, and all of a sudden I go like, oh my gosh, it is alive down here. Not only was there the squirrel there on the tree, there was this another squirrel up here, another squirrel. I would go, Bella, what about that one? What about that one? And the two of us, now, the neighbor walked by and just looked at me and went, I said, okay, well, I'm just checking the squirrels. Uh-huh. Are you all right, Father? So anyway, my point is, here's the lesson, is that Bella wasn't being stubborn. She was in wonder, right? And when I knelt, I humbled myself to see what she sees, right? I entered into the wonder too. Now, that day, wonder led me to a great joy. And now when she pulls, I get down a little bit. I don't get down on my knees every single time. But it changes the walk. I never look at the squirrels ever the same. I kind of look where she looks, try to guess what she's got. I mean, and it's wonderful. So it slowed me down, received the gift of that moment. Instead of rushing my walk for once and maybe every day since, I've been able to wonder as I walk. Transformed it completely. So let's look at Advent. Let's practice this for a moment. Look at the Christmas crib. Seen it 1,000 times, haven't we? What if we saw it as if we saw it for the first time? Just gaze at it, wonder. Or hear the old stories. We hear, I don't know how many times we hear Mary's fiat of saying yes, but can we hear it differently? Like, stop, oh yeah, I know this one. Or when we read into the Give Us Day, just go down to the end, yeah, I know I've read this one. Just kind of read it again with wonder. Or Joseph's dream, or the shepherd's fear, or whatever. All these readings, listen to them different. Or maybe just the Eucharist, to kind of come with a fresh set of eyes, the wonder of the Eucharist. We receive it every week in awe. So John the Cross says, the soul that walks in wonder and love neither rests nor ever grows tired. Wonder is love's way of walking, always attentive, always ready to be surprised, always enlarged by what it receives. So look, there's many different things we could do. Like you can do your own kneeling, you could do whatever. But I'm going to give a little practice of wonder. So we're going to do the stand, pair, and share. But we're going to do think first for 1 minute. And I want you to think, I'll give you a full minute to think about this. When was the last time you experienced genuine wonder? When we stopped and were amazed by something. I think if it could be a child, it's most easy to see it in a child, But it could be a bird, an animal, it could be anything, right? It could be just the sky at night, whatever. So just spend 1 minute just thinking about that, and then we're going to take a time to share with that one another. So let's do that for 1 minute. Okay, so if you would stand, this is your opportunity to stand up. You're not walking in, we're just stand, pair, and share. So speak to the person, no more than 3, no less than 2. So 1 minute, let the other person share if they haven't shared. Okay, come on back. Come on back. Okay. All right, so who wants to share their wonder moment? Okay, you want to, Mary, she's coming behind you.
So mine was that I was driving to work one day after a storm, and I saw this beautiful rainbow. And it was from one side of the street to the other, and it was huge, because sometimes you see a half rainbow or something like that. It was huge, and it was colored, so beautiful. I almost wanted to stop driving to see it.
Yeah, it does. That's what For sure, when you get a moment of wonder, it tends to pause, makes you pause. Like, hopefully you're not driving. That might be dangerous. Anyone else want to share something? Okay. She's coming over.
Today, I was telling you that
Oh, wait, sorry.
Palo Alto.
Wait, one sec. We want to get it for us online.
Okay. Today, I drove up to Palo Alto, and this is probably my 4th or 5th year, but there is an exhibit of creche, nativity sets at a church up in Palo Alto on Middlefield, and I try to go every year, and my friend was out of town. I'm like, I'm just going to go by myself. And I am in awe and in wonder of these creche, nativity scene sets that are large and tiny in every kind of material that is imaginable, and it's moving.
Cool.
And every culture is represented. It's just stunning.
Very nice. Very nice. Cool. Very good. Thank you. Yeah.
Do I have to stand up? No. Hello. Hi. Good evening. Wonder. I'm just amazed, and it's really a wonder when I listen to kids, right? Well, my grandson is first grader in here, and every time, this afternoon when he came from school, it's the usual thing. Grandma, what's 2 + 2? What is 4 + 4? What is 16 + 16? So we have that kind of a rhythm every afternoon. But then again, his last question was, okay, Grandma, what is infinity plus infinity? I said, wow, can it be to infinity? Okay, what's the answer? God. I said, wow.
Good answer. Yeah, wonderful. So look, I guess I'm hoping that you can train your eyes this week to be open to wonder, okay? Like, I'll give you one final example for me. Today we had our sacrament reconciliation with the kids here at the school. And it's always a wonderful moment, but you wonder, like, I often ask myself, it's like, what is the experience from a child coming to a priest, right? Now, for most of us, we want to go to a priest who we don't know, right? Like, most of us are like, oh, no, I'm not going to Father Brendan. And so they go, I'm going to go, oh, he's here. I don't know, he must be from out of town, so I'll take him. These kids come running up, hi, Father Brendan, hi, Father Brendan. And I'm thinking to myself, I wish that I was that carefree about sharing with somebody else my sins. That has me in awe and wonder. And what a great gift that the school is doing, that we're doing with them, that they can have that perspective of the sacrament. What a gift. So look, what I want to move to now is the gift of balance. Strength and flexibility in waiting, I call this. So look, let's talk about strength for a moment. Our culture celebrates strength. It celebrates and admires people who endure, people who are strong, people who are powerful, who bear heavy weights, who do not break under pressure. Now, strength's important. Don't get me wrong. I'm not undersaying this, but strength on its own is not enough. We need balance. Now, this word balance is one of the most overused and misunderstood words. I'm going to talk about it in a more mythical way. When I say mythical, I want to say that I'm talking about it in that sort of words that, a myth is that which encapsulates a story that nothing else can encapsulate, right? So it's a myth. But also mythical is that which is so big and so grandiose it can't be possibly real, right? So I want to talk about it in both these ways for a moment. But let's talk about, for example, physical fitness is a great example. A bodybuilder might bench press 300 or 400 pounds, but if he can't balance on one foot, is he really strong? Is he really strong? I mean, you would say by, our standards, but full fitness has to do with strength flexibility, balance, and agility. Is the ability to be able to, it's not just about raw power. So what I'm just going to suggest to you, that our society has it all wrong when it comes to strength. Flexibility is incredibly important. Agility. But I'm going to just focus on the one tonight that's going to include some of these. Balance. Because balance makes all the difference in the world. Now, I want to tell you a story about balance that I personally learned, right? Now, over a year and a half ago, some of you might remember, I've told plenty of stories about this. So I hurt my knee, I injured my left knee. And what in going through the doctors and then eventually getting to a physical therapist helped me figure this out, it revealed something very humbling to me. That for all my hiking, and I'm talking about hiking 40 miles a week plus of hiking, and for all my strength of legs, it was most alarming of all, I had no balance. I couldn't stand on one foot. Now, I can tell you, I was very humbled by this. When she said, stand on your leg, one leg for 30 seconds. So sure. Still I wobbled, I grabbed for the wall, and quite frankly, I nearly fell. Especially on the bad leg, but not even on the good leg. I had no balance whatsoever. She goes, oh, we know where your problem is. You have all power and no balance, no flexibility. And so she made some great examples of what to do. So for months, I did the boring exercises of practicing to stand on one leg. Now, if you think it's boring, it is. And you think it's easy, you're wrong. Have you ever stood on one leg? We'll find out in a minute, because we're going to be doing think, pair, and share, won't we? You know what we're going to do, and our next exercise is going to be. But here's what I found. For months I practiced standing, breathing, balancing, then learning to close my eyes as I one leg, which is even harder if you ever tried that. But her wisdom was this: balance is strength distributed in motion. Balance is strength distributed in motion. Not being rigid, but being flexible. So you've got to learn. So it's all those little fiber muscles, those really tiny, small muscles that are around all the big muscles that enable you to keep your balance. And all those muscles make a great deal. Now look, for those who are older, even older than I, lots of you are older than I, balance is critical. Because what does balance prevent? And what's going to kill you? The fall. The fall is the biggest thing that takes us down. Once we fall, when we're older, so the statistics are off the scale. They're non-arguable. When somebody falls at over 80, once they fall over 80 and they break a limb, the death rate is 70% within a year. Now, it goes up, but it goes down a little bit if you go down to 70, 60, all that. But my point is that when the older we get, we don't bounce back enough, right? Our body can't take a fall. When we're 50 or 60 or 30 or 40, the kids fall and they break a leg and no big deal, they jump back up. But we can't do that when we're older. So we can't regenerate the bones, we can't regenerate the muscles. So what I'm going to suggest is, that's all, you probably know that plenty, you don't need me to tell you about that. But I learned a painful lesson. It was a humbling lesson about my own physical. Now I brush my teeth at night and I balance on one foot. 2 minutes. And then in the morning, the other foot, another 2 minutes. And anytime you ever catch me, some of you caught me doing this on Sundays, I'll balance on one foot while I'm celebrating the Mass. And you're going to be all looking at me now. You can't really see me. But those who are over here can see me. They can see me. No, no one else can see me. But over here, they say, Father, are you okay? Is your leg hurting you? I said, no, why? He said, well, you were on one foot for half the Mass. Trying to build the strength. So anyway, my point is you find your own place to do it. Okay. Now, here's where I'm going to apply this. Balance is the same for the soul. If you have raw strength, right, that's not enough. Spiritually, the soul needs the capacity to hold the joy and the sorrow together without being destroyed by either. The soul has to be able to laugh in the dark moments without denying the darkness, but to find humor in the middle of the darkness. That's flexibility and balance in the soul. We have to remain hopeful right in the middle of suffering, not to wait and be naive that the suffering is not real or to be cataclysmic, that it's come to a terrible end, but to hold the balance between it. We have to be serious without being somber, right? We have to be playful without being shallow, right? So we have to have this little balancing act, right? So the gift of Celtic spirituality is that they do this in incredible ways. For those of you who are on the pilgrimage, you'll remember me talking about the Irish have an ability to be able to disarm with humor. Our old bishop, Bishop PJ, was a master at it. He would come into a very difficult situation and he would usually make some joke, usually about himself, deprecating joke about himself, because it was the easiest way out, usually about his size. But humor, it has a sense of humility. And what happens is the Irish learnt this because they suffered so much for hundreds of years. It became embedded in their spirituality. They had to laugh in the midst of suffering. They had to sing while they were sad. So they do it with a kind of a twinkle in their eye. So St. Teresa of Avila, the great gift of balance herself, given that she was through so much as well. Her famous prayer, if you've never heard it, when she was about to get into a horse and cart, and another horse came by and a cart came by, and she had just put on the beautiful vestment, or her beautiful white garment on the outside over the brown scowl thing, and a horse came by and the whole thing got splashed with water. And she looked up to heaven and said, if this is how you treat your friends, is it any wonder you have so few? The ability to be able to take a moment of humility, of a humbling moment, and laugh at it. She was great that she would always say this in her writings: you can argue with God, laugh at yourself, and remain deeply devout at the same time. You can argue with God, laugh at yourself, and remain deeply. It's all about balance. So there's this need, and John the Cross always does the same thing about balancing the light and the dark, the soul sneaking out, like he does it in one of his poems. I can't remember. It talks about the soul sneaking out at night with a lover and the adventure at night, holding the commune in the dark at night. Like it's kind of like he's imagining, of course, he is that soul that's seeking in the dark of the night. With a soul. So let's look at Advent. It requires of us this same balance. We light the candles in the middle of the darkness. That's why we start in the darkness. We're trying to bring this to life, if you would. We sing for joy while acknowledging the world's pain and suffering. You heard me bring this up, and we are not quite yet there, and we know that, yet we're trying to celebrate. So we prepare for the birth while still remembering that birth requires labor and pain and risk. We wait for the child while knowing that he will die upon the cross. See the tension in our own calendar? We have the birth and we have the death. So here's the two extremes that we always have to avoid. We have to avoid focusing only on the light or only on the dark. Because if we focus only on the light, we miss the meaning of the incarnation and refuse to enter into the darkness of our own lives. If we focus only on the darkness, only on the cross, we miss the hope that Christianity is distinctive. The darkness does not have the final word, it's resurrection. So you see why the church has both Advent and Lent, why it has Christmas and Easter, because we need both. There's a tension in the entire church calendar. The answer, of course, is balance, and we have to seek that balance spiritually. Now, look, there is a certain amount of laughing, humor in the incarnation. We approach it with a little bit of spiritual balance or humor. The incarnation is absurd by any rational standards, and we have to not dismiss our children when they come to do this. It is absurd. Absolutely absurd. That the God will become a Zen God. is going to become a little baby in the uterus. Absurd. That the creator of the universe is dependent on a teenager's milk from her breast. Absurd. Absolutely absurd. That the word becomes speechless in an infant babble. That the God who is the God of the universe, the word, the logos, becomes completely incomprehensible in the babble of a child. The King of Kings born in the midst of animal waste and born in a trough, put into a trough, a feeding manger. So, I mean, we just need to acknowledge that without having to lose the reverence for the moment. So we have to, we can't, again, the two extremes is if we only have solemnity, we miss something. Or if we only have sentimentality, cute baby Jesus, then we miss the grander picture. So we have to have this, again, this balance. We need both. We need both the humor, we need the wonder, and the humor that comes from balance, the light in the midst of this. So look, I think the divine is playful. And so the challenge is, can we laugh a little at the virgin birth? We have to learn to laugh at how absurd it is. And we say it all so casually. Oh yeah, virgin birth. Today, the feast day yesterday, Immaculate Conception. Oh yeah. And for those who are outside the faith, it's absurd. That's crazy. The wise men following a star in the middle of a desert to take you to a little place, a little stable. You have to kind of laugh at it, right? God being fed in the trough, as I said earlier. But still, we have to honor the profound truth underneath it. That's exactly what God did. He did not send a messenger, he became the message. The Word made flesh, the Logos, the meaning of life, completely there. So we have to search this and embrace this balance, okay? So when our kids or grandkids are searching for it, acknowledge the humor of it. Acknowledge the laughter of it. And then quickly hold it in tension with the profundity of the message. And say, yeah, and that's how our God chose to come. Vulnerable, naked, a little baby, dependent on a teenager's milk to live. That's our God. Yep. Absurd. Yep, sure is. That's how I believe. So, all right. So, here's our next. We're going to do a little. This time, you're going to stand and think on one leg. So I don't want you falling over. So I'm going to have you stand. I want you to try and stand. I want you to put your hand on the thing. I really don't want you falling over. I want you to stand on one leg and just see what it feels like. And then we'll ask the question after that. Now don't close your eyes yet, because you're going to close your eyes, you're going to tip over. We'll do this for 7 minutes. No, so I'm just kidding. All right. Just want you to do it for 30 seconds. I'll count 30 seconds out here for you. Okay, there's your 30 seconds. That was only 30 seconds, and some of you are wobbling all over the place. Okay, so here's what I want you to do. So the question, you can stand and just think about this for one moment. What would it mean for me to practice flexibility or spiritual balance in my own life? What does that look like for me? Spiritual balance in my own life. Just think about that for 1 minute. No, you don't have to do it on one foot. No, you're welcome to use both feet now. Okay, so let's take 3 minutes to share. 3 minutes to share. And remember, you can do your own physical, or it's a humor check, or what is the both and that you have to do, right? So remember, it's balance is both and. So name what you have to balance, right? What are you looking to balance in your own life? Both and, okay? Go ahead. Okay, so let's come on back. Let's come on back. Okay, do we have anyone who wants to share this time? We got 2 people coming. You want to share? Go ahead.
Well, first off, when you ask the question, for us, we're in wonder. Because you don't always ask yourself that question. I guess it's the first time we got asked that question. And very philosophical. That was kind of the general comment that we had. Lots to think about.
Yeah. It is. It's a deep question. It's our. I'm not. We're trying to go deeper each night here, so we are trying to get. Go ahead with the second. Go ahead. Oh, it was the same one. Okay. One on this side. Just take one or 2 more. Okay. Do you want to hear right here, Rael?
I just think that prayer that you've taught us, the 9 breath prayer is going to get me through Christmas. I have to be honest about it. My life has always been 20 things to do and time to do 15. And I'm just stepping back, and I just say that. If I'm in the grocery store, it doesn't matter where it is, I just stop. I think that's just a wonderful gift that you've given us.
Great, thank you. Yeah, you're right. I guess your answer to the same thing I'm hoping we're all saying is that there's a need for spiritual balance all the time. It's not just at Advent or as we head up to Christmas when things don't go right. And there's a certain irony to it, like not only as you're saying that, but for me, my schedule seems to have got completely out of whack myself. And I have back-to-back appointments and I'm not feeling well. And so I'm trying to cancel what appointments I feel I could cancel. And I said, the Lord is going, I said, Lord, you are trying to teach me something here, aren't you? Listen to your own words, Father Brendan. Listen to your own words. So anyway, okay, so thank you for sharing this. So it is a tough question, so I'm glad you want to ponder it, take it home. So we've cultivated wonder to enlarge our hearts. Now we've practiced balance to stay flexible and strong in the tension of that what is and what not yet is here, right? Those two things. Now we arrive at what I consider the deepest dimension of Advent waiting is the mystery itself. Mystery. And this, I want to call this the bridge between longing and belonging. That's a quote from John O'Donohue. So what we're trying to say here is that I want to distinguish between mystery from problem. Okay? It's not a problem. So problems is something to be solved. I mean, it goes back to the same tension we have in the other one, right? A problem is, we tend to want to fix things, right? We want to figure it out. We want to conquer it. Now, that's our secular world wants this for us, right? And I get that. But mystery is something different. Mystery is entering into. It's pondering. It's living with. That's why we went through those stages and holding that. The examples are, let's just give some obvious examples, but it's important. Incarnation is not a problem to unravel or to solve. It's a mystery to embrace. That's why we have to do a little bit of laughing. That's why we have to have that balance. Our souls are not problems. We have to try and find where the soul is. It's a mystery to embrace, right? The waiting we do in Advent then, and in life, I suppose, just like Marielle said, is not a problem. It itself is a mystery. And there's a bridge between the longing and the belonging. John O'Donohue says this, and it's a beautiful couple of quotes I want to say. We are full of longing. Our hearts, our minds, our souls long for fulfillment, belonging, and wholeness. And yet we'll never fully arrive. We taste moments of belonging in love, in prayer, in beauty, but we can't hold them. Because if we hold them, we lose them. He said, what we can do, we long again for them. There's that sense of longing for them again. Now look, in the human condition itself, we are always waiting for something. Let's go back to that waiting theme, right? A child waits to grow up. A student waits to graduate. A single person waits for love and marriage. A couple waits for a child. A worker waits for retirement. And a sick person waits for healing. And I suppose a dying person waits for peace in eternity. We're always waiting for something. See how unsettled our soul is? That we're always longing for something that we don't have. So that's why it's so important to master the waiting. But we have to not rush through it because we're not, guess what? As soon as we get that, we'll start waiting for something else. As soon as a student won't graduate from one school, they're waiting to graduate from the next school. As soon as they get to graduate, then they're looking for a job. They're always waiting for something. We are creatures of longing. That's what it is. So his insight is this. He reframes it, a profound reframing. And he says this, longing is not then a sign that something is wrong with us. Longing is a sign that we are made for more than this world can ever offer us. Longing is a soul's memory that our true home is eternal home. I'm going to say that again. Longing is not a sign that something is wrong with us. Longing is a sign that we are made for more than this world could ever offer us. That the longing is the soul's memory of its own eternal home and destiny. So like you've heard St. Augustine, you've heard this a million times since our new Pope has been here, but he says, you have made us for yourself, O Lord. Our hearts are restless until they rest in you. Same sense of longing that St. Augustine had back in the 3rd century, we have today. So the point of this, I'm just saying, is this ache, I feel is not a problem to be solved. It's the holy longing within us. So hold on to it. Be gentle with it. Hold it in the balance. Remember that this longing is God. It's the seed of the divine within us. And so we hold it. Why? Because it's love itself, planted within our own soul. So let's not rush past it. So for Advent, what does that mean? Advent is not just about the destination. Waiting is the sacred. So let's not rush to Christmas. We wait in this sacred time. Longing itself is our prayer. Right? That's what we want. John of Cross says, the soul mirrors the mystery of the incarnation in the way we long for eternity. When we're walking with the body, think of it like just like we, every one of us, is a walking incarnation. We are God's created ones, and we have the divine seed within us. Your body, my body, this wounded and broken material body is a home for something eternal. It's our soul. It's infinite. It's going to last beyond this body. Ponder that for Advent. Just ponder that one for Advent. That this soul that's within me, it longs for heaven, even though I don't even know what heaven looks like. I have no idea, but that longing is fully present to this earth here. So we are simultaneously fully human, and we're charged with divine life. We're not fully divine and fully human like God was, like Jesus was, Christ. But we are fully human, and we have the divine spark within us. Through baptism, the indwelling of the Spirit, that's God's inside of us, drawing us to himself. Beautiful, this longing, this drawing, that we belong and we're still longing. You can feel it drawing forth from us. So now you understand the tension that I'm talking about. St. John of the Cross puts it in the Spirit Canticle, the Living this Mystery. Where have you hidden, beloved, and left me moaning? You fled like the stag after wounding me, and I went calling you, but you were gone. I still long for you. My soul aches for you. You can feel the drawn. Even when I say it, I get the shivers on my legs and arms. What's he describing? The soul is wounded by love, God's first love for us, waiting for the full union again, longing for what it once tasted when it was created. That's the mystery we live. So, what does that mean? It's not pessimism, it's realism. It's mystery, my friends. We belong, and yet we long. We have, yet we wait. We taste, and yet we hunger. Do you see the tension in the mystery? And yet it's beautiful. So I'm going to give you this. I want to set us up for a little practice. John O'Donoghue has this thing called breathing in. He did this, I don't know where it was he did it, but anyway, I stole it from his. It's not mine. Made it up from him. I mean, it's adapted from what he did. It's breathing in what he calls a soul light. Now, understand that light, the soul is the place where our life and our longing weave together. Right? That's where our longing comes together, where the eternal enters into time. He says, so death is not the end of our soul. It's the liberation of our soul to its final place of rest. The soul shines fully in eternity. But we can practice this awareness of our own souls, which I don't think we do very much. But we can practice it. And I want to take you to a little guided meditation. It's going to take about 2 minutes to do this. So I want you to just kind of get yourself relaxed, put both feet in the ground, and walk you through this. I want you to close your eyes and place one hand over your heart. One hand over your heart. Now imagine that deep within your chest, deeper than your physical heart, beneath the flesh and the bone, there is a light. This is your soul light. The eternal part of you that has existed since before you were born and will exist way beyond your death. Feel it now. This light is not something you create. It's something you've been given. A spark of divine love placed within you at your creation. Breathe in slowly now. And as you do, imagine breathing fresh oxygen to that light of your soul, making it grow brighter. Now breathe out. Imagine that light radiating through your whole body, up into your head, down into your legs, out through your fingertips, like light radiating everywhere. This soul light knows no fear. It has always belonged to God. It waits for nothing because it already possesses everything. Let that light shine every part of your body, radiating now. Yet it also longs. That light longs to be united with its original source. Longs for the day when the dim glass of our body is removed and it can shine once again without hindrance. So let it shine now. Breathe in now that soul light. Receive its truth. You are eternal, it says. You are beloved, it says. You belong, it says. You are my light. Now breathe out. Breathe out the soul light. Radiate its truth of love to the whole world. Even in this waiting, even in this longing, let your soul already dance in God's presence now. When you're ready, gently open your eyes and notice how you feel. You have just touched eternity. That's the answer to your affinity question. You have just touched eternity. See, here's the final mystery, my friends. The final beautiful mystery. It's God who waits, not us. It's God who waits. Think about it. God waited 9 months in Mary's womb. God waited 30 years in obscurity before he even began his ministry publicly. God waits at the doors of our heart, never forcing entry, always knocking, always waiting for us. God waits for our return when we wander around like the prodigal sons, daughters. God waits with patience, with longing for the day when all creation will be restored. So, as John O'Donohue says, perhaps God too knows longing. Perhaps the Creator longs for full union with creation since the day he created. If this is true, and I believe it is, Our waiting then is not solitary. We wait with God. Our longing is met by God's longing. Our waiting is met with God's waiting. John of the Cross says in that beautiful love poetry, he says, "O flame of loving love, of living love, that tenderly wounds my soul in its deepest center, since now you are not oppressive, not consummate, if it will be your will, tear through this veil of this sweet encounter and let me feel your love." See, that soul longing for full union, both its waiting, its aching, longing, and belonging. So in the mystery of all this, waiting is not empty space. Waiting is relationship. It's relationship with God, because God is the one who truly waits. So here's the question I'm going to ask you to think about for 1 minute. This is our final sharing, and then we'll bring to a close. What is the deepest longing of your heart right now? What are you waiting for? Think about it for that one moment. What is my deepest longing right now? What are you waiting for? Let's take 1 minute. Okay, so let's stand, pair, and share again. We got 3 minutes. Okay, 45 seconds, 45 seconds. Okay, so come on back. So come on back. Okay, so who wants to? We have two people sharing. Who wants to share? There's a tough. I know there's a tougher question. What's their deepest longing? But if you're willing to share, we'd appreciate it. Okay, you want to come up here?
Thank you, Rachel. Well, I would like to know my purpose. And I think my friend told me, a loss of a husband and a marriage, and then your children grow and move on, and you enjoy your grandchildren and they move on. And it's like, what's the purpose? And a few days ago, I was given a bird out of the blue, and I'd happen to like birds. And that's kind of my purpose right now. That sounds corny, but I take care of him. That's all.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah, right there, Joanne.
What you said about the soul being unsettled really resonated because I was reflecting with Anne as we kind of move through life. It's like we're constantly chasing the next marker. And so I think the longing has always been, okay, when will things kind of just settle? And it may not, to your point. And so it's now longing for how do we live in the state that we are made to be.
Yeah, it is a really important. I like that, Joanne. Again, like I know each of these sessions are all sort of in the same talk in different words, but like looking for still the storm. Tonight we're looking for there is a longing. I'm trying to hopefully help you rename that as a holy longing, and to not buy into what secular society says. Yes, there are parts that are secular longing, yeah, but just understand we're always longing for it, because inside of us is a deep longing in our soul. And if we just hold that tension with wonder and awe, we're going to feel like a whole lot better with ourselves. So look, it's practice it takes, right? So I'm hoping that you got something from tonight. Let me just do a quick recap of some of the stuff, weaving it all together, if you would. The three dimensions of joy as waiting. Wonder, that we enlarge our heart. That helps us to see the beauty even as we wait. See the beauty even as we wait. That we kneel like I did with Bella to change our perspective and discover worlds that we may be walking over all the time. Right? Just have a sense of wonder enlarging our heart. Then we move to balance, keeping our soul flexible, able to hold both the joy and the sorrows of life, to hope and realism, to reverence and humor, to practice standing on one leg spiritually and physically, maybe. Right? But what do I need to do that? To learn to balance in motion, not rigidity. That we just gentle with ourselves. Because this applies also to ourselves. That we can understand ourselves, but not quite fully. Why do I do what I do? Even St. Paul says this in Romans. Why do I do what I know I don't want to do? We have to embrace that tension. And then the last one is a mystery. Invites us to stop trying to solve our waiting, to enter into this sacred space, to breathe in the soul light, that we have the divine within us, and let that light shine. Because if we can let it shine inside of us, like that little exercise meditation did, then we can help our others to let their light shine. Remember that we always belong even as we long. We always belong even as we long. Right? And that we are home even as we journey. Okay? So I want to close with a prayer and poem I wrote to. I have this habit of when I do a presentation, I try to pull it all together, and it's very hard to summarize it like I just did. I'm going to write it in a poem. So here's the poem for us waiters. We're waiters. God of Advent darkness, God who waits for us. Thank you for teaching us tonight that waiting is not wasted time, but sacred space. Enlarge our hearts with wonder that we might see your beauty even in the not yet. Give us balance, strength with flexibility, reverence with humor, hope with realism. Awaken us then to the mystery, to the truth that our souls already dance in eternity, even as our bodies ache with longing. Help us to remember that we are bridges between heaven and earth, between belonging and longing, between now and forever. And in this waiting, may we discover joy. Not the joy that comes when waiting ends, but the joy that blooms in the sacred soil of waiting itself. We ask this through Christ our Lord, who waits 9 months, who waits still at the doors of our heart, who will come again. Amen. All right, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. God bless. Thank you for being here, and spread the word. Bring a friend next week to our last session. God bless.